Hey you guys, greetings and salutations. This is James here at Unique Perspectives. I wanted to make a video about something that I thought was really close to my heart, and I just wanted to, keep it simple. It is hot here in California and I do not have AC in this room here, so I'm going to try to knock these out because my camera's going to get hot and I'm getting hot and I just need to go cool down. But when I knock these out, I do want to encourage you to like and subscribe. I would love your support. Again, I really appreciate a lot of the people that I'm connecting with on Facebook, on Instagram, and just people that I'm connecting with on YouTube, just, from these different topics. So God bless you guys. Love the connections that I'm making with you guys. But I'm gonna call this video, I don't know if I want to call it 4 reasons why I will never put down any other YouTubers, especially men, particularly men, or if I want to say maybe the 4 reasons why there are times when guys put down other guys, But I don't know if maybe it's kind of a bit of both, but I want to just go through these 4 areas why there are guys that actually practice these things, by why they would even make videos to put down other men. And I want to just address these areas. When I was immature, when I was young, I didn't mind trying to slander the name of someone on social media. I was immature, obviously. I'm a Christian, now, so obviously my standard of conduct is different now. So I would never consider putting anybody down deliberately or anything like that, especially on social media platforms or anything else, because, again, I'm a Christian. I represent God. I represent Christ. I represent, the Spirit of God. So I can't participate in those things, but I would like to touch on why a person would do something like that, or they would be comfortable putting down other men, especially men putting down other men on social media platforms and things like that. So let's get into this. I do want to share maybe I'll just share my Bible verses at the end. So we'll go through the 4 areas, and each of those points have their own little points, mini points in between. So I want to just unpack those and let's just get started. So one of the areas, I'm going to say the first area, another area that would inspire a man to put another man down online, on social media, or just in general, even if it's live and in person, is obviously envy. There are a lot of guys that envy the lifestyles, or there are men that envy the lifestyles and sometimes the success or the accomplishments of other men. And so instead of maybe befriending them and trying to connect with them and learning from them, their response is an immature response. The idea is, well, I want to be like this person, so I'm going to attack them instead, and maybe they have very poor communication skills, but this is, a way that somebody immature is going to respond. One of my favorite quotes is from Eric Hoffer. He says, rudeness is the weak person's imitation of strength. Rudeness is the weak person's imitation of strength. And so I keep that in mind when I'm conducting myself with people. But being envious or being jealous of someone will inspire you to want to put them down. Think about it. If the person has a very charismatic personality, they're always making friends. It's very easy for them to make friends. And for you, it's not easy for you to make friends. There are some people that learn from that, and then there's some people that will just go out and attack someone. So you have to keep in mind that when a man is willing to put down another man, this can be an area that he has issues with. He's admiring the person's, or he's jealous of the person's charisma or their success or their livelihood. Maybe the group of friends that they have a more rich experience with friends. Maybe the person willing to put others down, really don't have any real genuine friendship. I've been there. I've been in places like that when I was in my 20s, and it was easy to insult. It's really easy just to go into that kind of practice. It's not healthy. It's not what anybody should be doing, but there are men that really are jealous of maybe the livelihoods of other people. Like I said, it could be success, it could be their personalities, their charisma, it could be their success in what it is that they're doing in regards to work, or maybe the car that they drive, and their personality and their friends and all these other things, their accomplishments. So make sure that you avoid going into that category by trying to attack someone. Men, if anything, we should be encouraging one another and not putting one another down. I'm even aware that even correcting each other in love, because there are times when I correct people in love, and there's times where I've had brothers in Christ correct me in love. And so if you take that as an insult every time somebody's correct, you're gonna have a very hard time in life, very hard time. There's a lot of issues that you can avoid by simply just listening to someone that actually cares about your life. But the first area, like I said, it's envy and jealousy. There are a lot of guys that be angry and jealous and envious of another man in some weird way. Their response is to attack that person. I would say number 2, in my opinion, the reason why a person would want to attack someone, or a man would try to put down another man, is simply by the fact that there are a lot of men that, quite frankly, they have way too much free time on their hands. Way too much free time. I'll give you an example. I currently have 2 jobs, and one of my jobs, I teach soccer, I teach sports, and I'm in a place where I don't have a lot of free time to goof around and waste, because I am in a role where I actually teach and instruct as a supervisor other employees that are coming on our, in our job all the time. I'm in California, obviously, but I'm sometimes in the Valley area. I'm in sometimes sometimes in Los Angeles, it could be anywhere, somewhere on the, the west side in Santa Monica, or I can be in Orange County, anywhere, 30 and 40 miles away from my house. So I'm not in a place where I have a lot of free time to waste on trying to belittle and put other people down. I actually want to show you guys something as well. So I actually picked up a few books from Amazon just recently, and I have The Case for Trump by historian Victor Davis Hanson. Okay, so I'm actually going to be getting into that very soon. I have Paul Johnson's The Intellectuals. This is my pastor actually recommended this book. And I also have Economic Facts and Fallacies by Thomas Sowell. And so these are just a few books that I picked up within the last week or so. And I guess my point is that when you are living a lifestyle where you have way too much free time on your hands, you're going to have time to put other people down. For me, I don't have time to do that. Between going to lunch and dinner with my friends, going to movie gatherings with my friends, having movie nights, reading literature, reading my Bible on a daily basis, saturating my mind with God's Word, connecting with friends, ministering to others, going to work. I just don't have time to put other people down. I don't have the time, and I'm not willing to make the time. And so there are people that they're obviously not accomplishing much because they have a lot of time, a little too much free time. And instead of being creative or constructive with that time, they'll see that as an opportunity to put other people down. So just keep that in mind, that I think that there's a lot more room for immaturities when we don't have actually things that we are doing in our lives, things that are actually moving us forward to actually become something or be something. Yeah, in regards to just the free time, I also find myself constantly in service to people. And this is because of my Christian faith. I am, as a Christian, supposed to always put other people before myself. Jesus said in Matthew 28:20, the Son of Man didn't come to this world to be served, but to serve and give up his life for the ransom of many. And so the idea is for me as a Christian to serve others and be in service to others. And because I'm going to movies with my friends, going to movies alone, reading these books, reading, a daily devotion, reading my Bible, I'm going to work and I'm, a supervisor at my job. I'm instructing other employees when they're coming to the job. Even just with my work ethic, which I thank God for cultivating a healthy work ethic, with me. But I've even received 2 promotions this year, road to receiving a 3rd one possibly, because I'm really, demonstrating, a very rich work ethic. And again, it's really just the Christian worldview. It's really easy to outwork other people when your standard is not really what mankind says, but what God desires for us. Of course, God has very high standards. It's very easy to, be promoted and things like that. So it's really incredible. But again, if a person is not doing much in their life, if they're not being constructive with their time, and they have way too much free time on their hands, they're going to have time to be idle and be foolish with what it is that they're doing. And so again, I think it's not any reason to go around and put people down just because you have extra free time, but I do not think that it's wise. Number 3, this is actually one that I find very intriguing, and this is something that I think sometimes some of us are a little bit uncomfortable talking about, but this is the topic of homosexuality. There are some men that are actually homosexual, and instead of really focusing on their lives in a healthy sense, there are guys that are homosexual and they will be fixated on other men. And even if they are sleeping with a girlfriend or a wife and have children, there are men that what we would say, is kind of on the down low. They kind of live lives in secret, sexually attracted to men, and they will not actually address it openly and publicly. However, it can manifest itself as being fixated on particular men. And so if you're taking the time out to address and talk about men on social media platforms, and again, I personally, I don't see the reason why we would want to talk about other men, especially as heterosexual men. I don't see any room in my life as a heterosexual man to want to address anyone publicly, to put them down or anything, like a fellow YouTuber or something like that. I just don't see why I would want to do that. Now, because again, I'm a Christian, so I have a different standard of conduct, but even just the Christian ethics and things like that, I think we all should recognize that, we should do something else with our time. But there are some guys that are bisexual, they go both ways, and they can have a girlfriend, they can have a wife, they can have families, like I said, but they also can be fixated on guys. And so I'm going through these areas because for me, these are 4 reasons why I don't think any of us should be fixated on any man, or as men, we should be not putting other people down, especially other men down, but building them up. And so it's really unusual when you say, you know what, let me not focus on what it is that I'm doing in life, but let me focus on a man, and let me address him. And if anything, we should be using that energy to pursue a relationship with our spouse, our, girlfriend, or even find a partner if you're not with someone. But the idea of a man taking the time out so he can spend time on talking about other men, I don't know, it doesn't sound like it's something that a straight man would want to do, if that makes sense. All right, guys, so we're going to wrap up with our last point, number 4, and that is if we're going to put other people down, there could be reasons of insecurity in our lives or even just really low self-esteem. And I think this is more of a reason why anybody would want to put someone down. Again, remember, rudeness is the weak person's imitation of strength. And so just keep in mind that obviously people with low self-esteem is going to constantly prioritize and care about what other people feel about them. I'm not going to pretend like I'm some, Casanova when it comes to my relationships and how I perceive myself, but I'm one of those people that I can sleep perfectly fine if certain people don't care about my philosophies or care that much for me. Like, I understand that I have people in my life that care about me, and then I have people that, I'm just not close with, or I never will be close with. So I can sleep fine having amazing people in my life and other people that not really connecting with me, but somebody with so low self-esteem or with, major insecurities, they're not okay with that. They're going to care about what other things. They're going to care about even the people that really shouldn't have that much of an opinion. They're going to have issues with the perception that people have of them. And so that can motivate a person to put other people down because it sort of makes them feel, in a way, it almost makes them feel better about themselves by putting other people down and demeaning others. And this is, of course, a bully tactic. And of course, that was my next point within this 4th point, is that there are a lot of people that have been bullied throughout their life, or they're still getting bullied. And so the only way that they have learned to handle being bullied is to continue to transfer that. And there's a name actually for that. If I remember correctly, it's called displacement, or I think it's displacement. And that is when you transfer something negative that has happened to you and you continue to, the way you express it or the way you handle it is to basically pass it on to someone else. So if somebody's insulting you, let's say, your mom and dad didn't love you enough, you're going to be unloving towards other people. You'll just transfer that, and it kind of goes in line with the bullying as well. So it's almost like somebody really giving off the clear impression that they were bullied or still getting bullied. And so as we get older, we should be moving away from stuff like that as we're older and more mature. But somebody, like I said, that is an adult and they're still doing these things, even to other people, it really doesn't look very healthy. It really demonstrates that they have low self-esteem, that they have insecurities, that they don't have a very healthy perception of themselves. And a person that is in a healthy place, you're not going to have the desire to want to put other people down. However, if you are in a place where you're in a negative place, then you're going to make plenty of time to put other people down, because for you, that's how you solve your own insecurities, your own issues, your own perceptions of managing, your value and your worth and things like that. And another really weird way to manage this is just, if you put other people down, some people think, well, if I put this person down, well, then I can convince other people to like me. Let me put this person down and then other people will like me. And so it's really, again, very unhealthy practice. And the reason why I'm telling you guys this is because before I joined YouTube, maybe a year or two before I even made my first video, early this year in 2022, I decided that I was not going to put anybody down on YouTube because I don't want to bring that to my platform. If anything, I want to demonstrate a Christ likeness. I want to show that there are words that can be used to actually elevate and really just build people up and things like that, rather than tear them down. I actually want to end this video with just sharing a few Bible verses that really has resonated with me about this particular field, in just thinking about putting other people down, because I think it's really an unhealthy practice. There's a lot of guys that have issues of homosexuality, insecurities, envy, or even if they just really don't have the best self-esteem, like I said, they will find ways to attack others, and it's kind of like telling on themselves. It's letting people know that, hey, I'm insecure and I have issues with myself and I don't value myself. So it's kind of like loving people are loving, and people that are wrapped up in like a very twisted, dark perception of reality, well, they're going to express that. And so we don't want to be a part of that. But I want to share these Bible verses with you guys before I end the video, because I think it just resonates with me, and I think it'll resonate with you guys as well. So keep in mind that the Bible teaches very clearly, whether you believe it or not, Jesus has made it very clear that, on the day of judgment, everyone is going to give an account for what they say, So that's something that we have to be very clear of, is that we want to be very responsible with the words that we express. And we want to be extra careful when we are describing or talking about people. But I want to read these verses and I want to just kind of go through them and actually share just a little bit of my thoughts about these verses as we really just move towards closing this video. So what I would like to do is, before I end the video, I'd like to just share some Bible verses just to really ground some of the foundation in regards to why I feel the way that I feel when it comes to like putting other men down, especially like on YouTube and other platforms, because I've seen, I'm not going to mention their names, but I've seen 3 very well-known YouTubers actually once invite another gentleman that also identified as a Christian, and because they didn't agree with his views, they sort of like invited him to a chat and then like surprised him and bombarded him, really just attacking him to some extent. And I really thought it was just unfair. I thought it was unfair. And it's really sad to see things like that, for professing Christians to behave in such a way, like a wolf, and just kind of, attacking people that, don't think the way that you think. So I think we just need to be careful with that. But I want to really just ground this in God's word, because I think, as a Christian, of course, this is the foundation for the Christian life, the Christian conduct, why we shouldn't be putting other people down, and just being responsible with the words that we express. So I have in James 1:26, it says, if anyone thinks he is religious and does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his heart, this person's religion is worthless. So God is already telling us through James, the half-brother of Christ, to say that we are religious, to say that we represent God to some extent, yet we are not being careful with the type of words that we speak, being mindful of the words that we write out and we type out, and not really just, we want to be cautious not to show a different side of what we think Christ is. We don't want to misrepresent Christ, and so we have to be responsible with the words that we use. For me personally, I have way too many people that are paying very close attention to what I say, what I do, so I'm always careful, whether I'm amongst my friends, my family members, or even just at work. I'm always cautious and careful with asking myself, okay, before I say this or before I do this, am I representing Christ correctly? Because everyone else in these different religions, different cults, they can do whatever it is they want, because there is no standard of conduct for them. They can wing it and create whatever it is they want. But for us, everyone, every single person, even those that reject biblical Christianity, everyone knows our standard of conduct aligns with what God desires. So we want to be very mindful not to say, hey, we are religious, hey, we represent God, and then we're speaking like a sailor or attacking other people. So this is one of the reasons why I don't think any of us, men especially, should be attacking other men. Proverbs 12:16 says, the vexation of a fool is known at once, but the prudent ignores an insult. It's really interesting how you can learn so much about a person with the type of words that they're willing to say. One of the things that really helps me learn about a person is when they are comfortable attacking the integrity, attacking the character of other people. If they're comfortable doing that, it's almost like they're making it very clear to everyone else. They are rejecting God, they're rejecting the biblical God, and they've created their own version of a God in their own image, a God that is okay with them slandering and attacking other people. It almost makes it very clear and very plain that they are obviously not walking with the eternal God. However, it also says here in this verse that the prudent ignores an insult. And so even for myself, there are times when I get attacked, even just this past week, I've been attacked by people that, quite frankly, are no in position to attack anyone. And I just learned that it's really not worth investing any time with trying to go back and forth with people that are not interested in even having an honest, intelligent dialogue, to be honest with you. And so, again, my standard is to represent Christ, not represent myself or some worldly philosophy like the rest of the world. I have another one here. This one's very self-explanatory. Whoever belittles his neighbor lacks sense, but a man of understanding remains silent. That's Proverbs 11. When you're insulting people, you lack sense. That's what the Bible said. You lack sense. Really making it very clear what class of a type of person we are when we're willing to go out of our way to put other people down. The last verse I'm going to share is Ephesians 4:31-32. It says, let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you, along with all malice. Be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another as God has Christ forgiven you. And so it's really important that not only, of course, in the context we're talking about, brothers and sisters in Christ within the Christian community, but we also want to keep in mind that those outside of the church are still human beings made in the image of God that have value and worth. And even though they can be very immature, we are to respect them and we are to serve and love them as well. It's not going to be very easy for them to actually behave in a Christ-like nature, because they can't. They have to be born again. They have to be changed by the eternal God. But it's important as Christians to understand that we have a specific conduct that stands out when it comes to our ethics, when it comes to our morality. And so there is no excuse for us to be putting other people down. It's understandable for a person outside of Christ living in sin to do that, but we don't do that. So God bless you guys. Take care. This is James here at Unique Perspectives, and thank you very much. If you made it to the end of the video, I just want to say thank you, because this was a very important topic to me. I really think that there's way too many guys, especially, and just people in general, men and women, there's too many of us that really pretend as if we have justified reasons for putting other people down, but really it could be insecurities, it could be envy, it could be that we're actually sexually attracted. So it could be all sorts of reasons, but having way too much time on our hands, Tonight, for example, my job is having a business meeting. Like, that's something that I would like to be present to, and I'm always going. So God bless you guys. Take care. Just stay busy, handle your business, and please don't put other people down. Please like and subscribe, and God bless you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Take care.